I've got 2 free transfers and this is who I'm bringing in this week. Welcome to the Gianni YouTube show. Hope you guys are well. This is my team selection video for Game Week 13. And guys, if you've been a bit bored over the last couple of weeks in the international break, the good news is the fixtures come thick and fast. We've even got some midweek deadlines coming up as well. So in today's show, I'm going to talk to you about my transfers. I'm going to talk to you about how my team's looking for the next few weeks and maybe even some forward planning. And of course, we'll touch on captaincy. But before we do anything, I guess we should touch on some of the players that I'm really keen on. And when I'm talking about my moves this week, next week, the week after, I'm looking at players from this list. Now, I did a Christmas shopping list video a couple of days ago. Go check that one out if you fancy it off the back of this one. But these are the players that are very much on my watch list. And Bomo absolutely needs to come in, maybe not this week, but next. Reece James and Cole Palmer, I've definitely got my eye on. Actually, Chelsea assets in general, maybe Sanchez, maybe Nkunku, maybe Sterling, all become part of our thinking as well. From 16, their fixtures are amazing. Darwin, as always, is keen. I'm keen on Darwin. Eze too. Bowen, we need to know more about his injury, but he looks like he'll be a swerve for now. And Porro, and maybe Raya, because I think we'll be fed up of Areola in a couple of weeks as well. So these are the guys I like, but who am I focusing on this week? Well, look, my transfer out involves selling Mitoma. Now, Mitoma has returned to training because there was talk he'd miss Game Week 13. I'm not so sure he will. But even if Mitoma's fit and ready to go, I still don't think I want him. It's an away trip to Nottingham Forest, which is difficult. And then he goes to Chelsea as well. So that's 2 tough-ish fixtures for Mitoma, who hasn't really been performing in terms of FPL. Brighton and Mitoma always look sharp. Of course they do. But there's other midfielders, like Palmer, like Mbomo, that I really want to accommodate. And I think you can go to these guys sooner or later. So I've got 3 options this week around my transfer plans. And I tweeted, actually, a couple of days ago. This is the tweet I sent. I said, these are my 3 options. It's going to be Mitoma out for Palmer, Mitoma out for Eze, or it's Mitoma out from Bomo. But to do that, I need money. So I'd have to sell Matty Cash this week. Now, I think Matty Cash for the next couple of game weeks is actually quite a good hold. Spurs away and Bournemouth away. So whilst Mbomo would be my preferred angle this week, especially with the price rises, I'm not going to go to Mbomo until Game Week 14. So I'm going to be looking, I think, at option 1 or 2, and I'll tell you which one when I show you my team. But Game Week 1 and 2 both involve Mbomo in for Diaby in 14, and then likely that Matty Cash spot around 14, 15, or maybe even 16 can then become a Reece James if I want it to. Because I think Reece James at 5.3 million is going to be a really good own if he can stay fit, and I know that's always the $1 million question with Reece. So let's show you my team. But before we do, if you fancy hitting that like button, that would be amazing, guys. Likes and subscribes are so welcome. Thank you for being so generous with your time on that one. But let's see how I got on in the game week gone. And it was not just gone, the game week gone a couple of weeks ago. So we're going to flash by in 10 seconds on this one. 74 points. The rank's at 433k. I'm fine with that. It would have been nice to have a big green arrow into the international break. I would have had that if only I'd played Tsimikas, but I decided to bench Tsimikas and go Lascelles with 0. Mitoma didn't stay benched. I was hoping to get an auto sub when I saw Mitoma benched. Tsimikas is 15, well and truly punished me. Many sold Tsimikas. I was never going to do that. If Gomez was fit, he probably would have been benched. But with the fixtures now, Tsimikas looks like a great buy for your team. So if you have sold him, I'd still look to reverse that in the coming weeks, I think. But let's look at how I'm shaping up for Game Week 13. At the moment, we can see I've gone 3-5-3. The Areola in goal, Gabriel, Cash and Lascelles. It's Lascelles over Taylor just. The bookies put Lascelles at 28% likely to keep a clean sheet and Taylor at 20. Diaby, Son, Salah, Mitoma and Saka. That midfield's going to change. Watkins and Haaland up front. Tsimikas benched, Taylor benched, Mabama benched. I mentioned Mitoma's going to go out. So does he go out for Eze? And then Eze becomes Cole Palmer in 3 weeks' time. Eze's got a really nice 3-game run. Or do I save a transfer and go straight to Cole Palmer? Save a transfer and a couple of 0.1s because Cole Palmer's going to be more expensive in Game Week 16 when I buy him. Almost certainly. I'm pretty sure, guys, I'm going with option 1. Mitoma out, Palmer in. That gives me loads of money in the bank to be flexible next week when I go Diaby out from Bomo. But then I've got a second move if I want to. If I want to upgrade a defender, I can. If I want to sell Matty Cash to Reece James, I can. But I think my plan moving forward is going to be to keep that second transfer in the bank for when I need it over the festive period. And there's a good chance I'll need that second transfer when we get injuries or suspensions with the fixtures coming thick and fast. But for now, it's make a transfer, bank a transfer. Next week, make a transfer and Bomo, save a transfer. The week after, maybe cash to Reece James, make a transfer, save a transfer. That's the plan. And long term, I'm looking to offload cash Diaby. I'm looking to get Chelsea assets in as well as Mbomo. I think I'm going to be keeping Watkins over the international period. I would love to go for a short-term punt on Darwin, but I'm not confident of starts. I think he probably starts this weekend, but that's no guarantee. He's back training off the back of a long flight and journey from South America. But then it's 3 games from game week 14, 15, 16. 3 games in 6 days. Now he starts 2 of them. Watkins is going to start 3 in a week. No problem at all, I think. So with that in mind, I think I'll be holding Watkins through the tougher games, but selling the other Villa assets. So that's very much my plan moving forward. Things change, of course they do, but that's how I'm set up, I think, for game week 13. In terms of captaincy, we have to discuss it, don't we? Because Son, at the moment, has the armband in this team. Oh, I don't know. I really don't know. So Haaland historically, should we look at a little bit of historical stuff? I mentioned this again earlier in the week, but Haaland's not done too well against Liverpool. He's only played him once in the Prem, blanked. Yet Son has done so well against Aston Villa. Son bagged 21 points and 10 points last season in the 2 appearances against Aston Villa. A 21-pointer and a 10-pointer. Before that, he's got 2 blanks, 2 2-pointers, so his average is 8.75. Salah also has a good average. I'm not going Salah. I'm not backing the away guy against Man City. I expect City to win, and I expect Haaland to be involved. Is the ceiling high for Haaland? I don't think ordinarily it would be, but this is a freak of nature that bucks the trend, that just went and got 3 returns against Chelsea. He could very easily, away at Chelsea, he could very easily get 3 returns at home to Liverpool. But Son could have fun against Aston Villa as well, and I am tempted. At the moment, I would say, earlier in the week, I was probably just edging Son. Now I'm probably just edging Haaland. But that's often the case when you go in and back in against effective ownership, which I don't really want to play part of my thinking. My plan is to stream live on Saturday morning, where I'll lock in my decision and tell you what I'm doing with captaincy. But at the moment, as I mentioned, it's really tight and I'm quite twitchy and quite nervous about those 2 assets. Should you look outside the box for captaincy this week? I don't necessarily think you should. Should you look at other FPL assets for your team? Well, maybe. And this is where I want to bring back up the Christmas watch list for me, because these are the players still. And look, in FPL, it's so fast changing, right? Things change all the time and your thoughts change. And I was conscious that when I made this Christmas shopping list, I was thinking, will this list look the same at the end of the week? Will this list look the same next week? Now, I don't know how long this list will be relevant, but it's certainly still the case and very relevant at the end of the week. Nothing has changed. There's no new players I look at and go, I really want to put on that list. I mean, maybe I would argue I've thought a little bit more about Sanchez as a goalkeeping option, possibly. I've thought a little bit if Nkunku hits the ground running, maybe he goes on there. But other than those 2 Chelsea lads, not much has changed. And I think through the festive period, my moves are going to be focused around Mbomo next week, Palmer this week. And by the way, when we look at Palmer's fixtures, I know they're not great, but his expected assists is still really good when we take penalties away from things. He's doing so well in that Chelsea lineup. He's like a mini De Bruyne. And actually, Pochettino has alluded to that. I'm like, wow, if you like, given that's respect right there. If we want to make those comparisons, I'm here for that all day long. And De Bruyne takes a bad penalty. Cole Palmer doesn't. So 4 in 4 for Cole Palmer. So look, the watch list is still very relevant, but I think, as I mentioned, Mbomo, Palmer, Reece James will probably be definitely my next 2 moves. Will they be my next 3? I'm not as confident on Reece James. I'm not as confident on the fact that I can restrain myself from not going Darwin. But that's where we're at, guys. If you want to do some more research this game week, then check out Fantasy Football Scout, because I spend so much time in the members area, it would only be fair of me to share that with you guys. There's a free version for Scout where you can still access loads of their tools. And then, of course, there's the paid for options if you want to go really deep, especially into the stats. But the website's brilliant for things like team news and injuries and stuff like that as well. There's a link in the description. Guys, I'm going to be back doing a live on Saturday morning. I'm hoping you guys are hitting the like button on your way out, and I'll see you very soon. Good luck this game.